I'm Robert Porter, Bob Porter. My friends call me Bob, and I'm now retired, but I was for many years an academic at Bristol University, where I live, and for the last 6 years of my career at Glasgow University, where I was the Professor of Slavonic Studies, specialising in Russian and Czech literature.
And Bristol, where is Bristol?
Well, Bristol is, I suppose, about 120 miles from London to the west, and the people in Bristol always say, and I think there's a lot of truth in this, that we have all the advantages of London with none of the disadvantages. So we've got lots of culture, we've got some beautiful architecture, there's a wonderful history attaching to Bristol, and of course it's smaller than London. It's, I suppose, about 400,000 or 500,000 people. I'm not sure of the exact population these days. And it's a very vibrant city. It's a very rich city as well. People in Bristol will often tell you that it's a city that's founded on 3 sins: tobacco, alcohol, and slavery. The tobacco comes from the Wills family that were cigarette manufacturers, the Wills family, and there was a tobacco factory here in Bristol, which is now, it's no longer a tobacco factory, it's a very fine theatre and arts centre now. And the Wills family gave a great deal of money to the university, and the main university building is called the Wills Building, after the Wills family. The second sin, alcohol, is to do with sherry, Bristol cream sherry, which is really quite famous. I think you can even buy it in the Czech Republic these days. And it's a drink that's not quite as popular as it used to be, but it used to be a traditional aperitif. You would have a glass of sherry before a meal. And the story is, if I remember correctly, that Queen Victoria came to Bristol and tasted some sherry, and where they make it, and it was imported from Spain, of course, and then bottled over here. And she was told it was one particular sherry she tasted was a milk sherry, and then they said, but try this one, which is a very fine sherry. And she tasted this other sherry and said, well, if that one is milk, this one is cream, you see. And so the name stuck. It was Bristol Cream Sherry, a sherry that you can buy pretty much all around the world these days. The third sin, of course, is slavery, and a lot of the wealth of Bristol was founded on the slave trade, the so-called triangle trade between Africa, America, Caribbean, and Europe, mainly Britain. And Bristol has always been a very strong seafaring port, and a lot of the ships set sail from Bristol to go to Africa, to pick up slaves, to take the slaves to America, where they were sold, and in exchange we imported things like, I think, sugar cane and coffee and things like that, and they came back to Europe in those same ships, and then the ships went out to Africa again. So a great deal of money was made on the slave trade. So when you come to Bristol, you'll see a very fine city, but there's a dark side to it, I'm afraid.
Do you think Bristol people are special compared to anyone else in England? I think so, from what I saw.
Right, that's interesting. It's difficult for me to answer that because I was born in London, and then I grew up in Essex, in Greater London, just north of London, and then I studied in the north of England, and I didn't come to Bristol until 1974, when I started teaching at the university here, so I'm not a Bristolian. And if you find the original Bristolians, they have a very special accent. It's a wonderful accent, and sometimes it's quite difficult to understand what they're saying.
Can you do it?
I can try and give you an example. One of the most famous examples is that if you have a word that ends in a vowel, the Bristolians will always put an L on the end of it. So the word idea in Bristolian comes out as ideal. So if you say let's go to the seaside today, a Bristolian might say, that's a good ideal, instead of a good idea. So, and another nice phrase is girt lush. If something is girt lush, it means it's really good, really exciting and really great, you know. It's girt lush. And you have this lovely back R like that. Or that be girt lush ideal, that be.
Hey, but you speak many different languages. I know. So not only Bristolian, you also speak Czech, Russian, and French.
Well, let me put it this way. I've tried to learn many different languages. My first language is English, I suppose, and it's for other people to judge whether I can speak that properly or not. I did my degree in Russian at Leeds University in the north of England, but I studied some Czech there as well, and I did some French, as I'd done French at school, and I did a tiny bit of Italian at school as well. But as somebody said to me the other day, well, when you were learning Italian, Bob, that was so long ago, it was Latin, wasn't it? Very unkind. And then I was in the fair Czech city of Brno in 1976 when I met a young lady from Denmark who is now my wife. And so I lived in Denmark for a year and tried to learn Danish as well. So I suppose I've tried to learn over the years English, French, a little bit of Italian, some Danish, Russian, and did I say Czech as well? And that's it really.
Why would you learn Russian and Czech? A British person learning Czech?